So this is the first of 4 short talks about refuge. And in each of the talks I want to talk about a different, shall we say, level or degree of refuge. In Pureland Buddhism we have as our central practice at the heart of the approach the Nembutsu. And the Nembutsu is an act of refuge. But refuge is the real heart of the whole of Buddhism. So when we say the Nembutsu, we're indicating that heart, the compassion, the wisdom, the original inspiration, the whole of Buddhism. But Buddhism manifesting through the refuge appears in different ways. So at the simplest level we might talk about what we could call latent refuge. In Buddhism there is the sense that one may have received the teachings perhaps in a previous life. One may have the teachings there somehow in your life, but not necessarily be conscious of them. They can be a kind of latent refuge, which may show up in different bits of one's life. It may appear in dreams, it may appear in occasional impulses. You might be a sort of person who's, perhaps you're a soldier and you're posted to a Far Eastern land and you become intrigued by the statue of the Buddha. Why has the statue of the Buddha this effect on you, and why does it have a more than, it's not like just some other statue that you might have taken a tourist photograph of. Something of that kind, there is an intuitive something in you which from Buddhist point of view is thought of as being like a hangover from a previous life, or it may be in the circumstance of your life. You could be somebody who's born into a Buddhist family, but perhaps you're not interested in Buddhism consciously, perhaps you're just interested in sports cars or whatever it is. But you are in that culture, and so somehow Buddhism notion here is of a refuge that is in you but has not been, as it were, woken up. It's not been awakened. And this idea of a latent refuge, this is symbolized in the Lotus Sutra, in the parable of the jewel. In the parable of the jewel, a man goes to visit a friend, and they have a fine party and they all get drunk. And the man falls asleep, and the friend has to go. And the friend has a great good spirit towards his visitor. And so before he goes, he sews into the garment that the man who is lying in a drunken stupor is wearing, he sews into that garment a jewel. And when the man wakes up in the morning, he sees that his friend's gone, and he goes on his way. And he doesn't realize that he has this jewel sewn into his clothing. So it's in that sense that at some previous time in our karmic stream, refuge has been implanted in us, the sense of there being a source, a refuge, an object of faith that can lift our lives, that can inspire us, is there somehow, though not consciously, and perhaps even consciously rejected, but is still there as a seed in our karmic stream. This is the notion of latent refuge. You see it in the person who, as I say, is just living in a Buddhist family, living in a Buddhist environment, or has some uncanny, even if he doesn't come from that background at all, has some seemingly almost uncanny connection with the Dhamma.